You are listening to the Estheticians Earn More podcast with Brady Hageman, episode number 178. Do you want to make $100,000 revenue in your esthetician business? If so, I would love to show you how. I'm going to invite you to coach with me in my one-to-one coaching program. It's completely customizable. The way that it works is we sit down and figure out what you've been doing in your business that hasn't been working, and then make a very specific plan that I help you follow over the course of 6 months to get it done. We meet weekly for 30 minutes and discuss exactly what went well that week and we're going to do next week, whether it's your pricing needs to be raised, or you need to have boundaries with your clients, or if you need to learn how to sell skincare, or you need to niche down and you're doing way too many services and not making money, or all of the above. Whatever the issue is, whatever the reason is you're not making money, we'll figure it out together and we will grow your business into a really profitable business that's sustainable, that you love, and that really helps people. I cannot wait to be your coach and to work with you. To learn more, go to the link in the show notes. And with that, on with today's episode. Hello, happy Monday. Welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving if you are US based. I am sorry this podcast is a little bit late. If you listen to them live, you just know I just had a lot going on in my life lately, but I'm so happy to talk about today's podcast with Ali Acosta, also now known as Ali Johnson. She just got married. She's the owner of North County Skin in Encinitas, California. I have known about Ali for quite some time. I know she's great friends with Cecilia Farron, who has been on this podcast before, who was a former client of mine, and they graciously had me on their podcast along with Kara, and their podcast is the Porefessionals Podcast, and I was on that in October 2024, and I was like, okay, I need to get you on my podcast. And Ali and I actually have so much in common. Her husband is also a pilot. She lives in San Diego area. We started around the same time our careers in esthetician, acne world. Yeah. And in today's episode, Ali is going to talk about what she did before she was an esthetician, which involves celebrities. So get excited. We kind of geek out for a minute. And then she's going to talk about how she built her business using connection and building relationships with people. I think that is such an underrated thing. I know I talk about that on this podcast, but something that people easily forget. So it is so inspirational. Ali is so funny. She's such an easy person to talk to. You will absolutely love today's episode. Enjoy it. I'll be back next week. Have a great week. Hi, Ali. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored. This is so fun.
This is so fun. I'm so happy that you're here. So tell everybody, if they don't know who you are, everything about you.
Everything.
Your bio, yeah.
I was born at a very young age. I am Ali Acosta. I own North County, or I'm so sorry, Ali Johnson. I got married. I've been married for 6 weeks, I think.
Weeks.
And I have not really gotten on. I am still struggling. I am Ali Johnson, formerly known as Ali Acosta. And I own North County Skin Solutions, which is in Encinitas, which is North San Diego, hence the North County Skin. And I've been an esthetician since 2018, I believe. I struggled with acne my whole life. It got really bad when I was in esthetician school because, you're practicing on each other. And so I ended up finding a job at an acne clinic, which I had literally never heard of. I was like, what the heck? I needed this my whole life. And when I sat down with her in my interview, she was like, hey, I think your conditioner is breaking you out. I was like, what? It had never even remotely crossed my mind that a hair product would cause my acne. And she was like, you need to be doing this and this. And so I managed that clinic for 3 years. And then I left and started my own. And so she is the one that introduced me to Face Reality. I had never heard of Face Reality before. Now it's literally my bread and butter. I'm obsessed. I am an ambassador for Face Reality too, which is so surreal, like true, like a dream come true that I could do that. They wanted me, and it was really cool. So yeah, and then I started my business as a sole proprietor. I was in a teeny tiny room for a year, and then I went to a little bit bigger of a room, but still just me. And then I believe like a year and a half, 2 years into that, I hired my first employee. And now there is 5 of us, and I have 2 other tenants that rent in my office. They're not employees, but they rent rooms, and they basically like complete all of North County Skin, so that we have facials, we have lashes and waxing, and then we also have an injector, and she does like lasers and all of that stuff. But those 2 do not work for me. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Side note that I'll edit out. Where did you work?
I can tell you, I
Okay.
will tell people, the
Okay.
San Diego Acne Clinic, which
Okay.
if you guys have heard of Clear Stem, it's their clinic. So I managed the Clear Stem clinic. So Danielle, who people know, was my boss. And I mean, the fact that she took a chance on me straight out of school, it was my first job in aesthetics.
Yeah.
She obviously saw something in me, I don't know what. And I just learned so much from her about business, and it was really great because I really managed that whole clinic. And so I learned how to really like run a business before I started, aside from like obviously like the taxes and finances. I didn't have any part in that, but yeah, it was like so helpful. So at the time, ClearStem had one product. It was just like it's now called Cell Renew. It was called something else back then, I don't remember. And then she really grew that and kind of started to mostly do ClearStem. And then I don't know what they're doing now or anything like that, but I'm eternally grateful to her for introducing me to Face Reality and that whole acne world and everything.
I asked because I know at least the ones when I was still in San Diego, and I knew that was a very well-known clinic. So we were definitely working in San Diego at the same time.
I know, it's so funny.
Okay, so let's go back. So what did you do out of high school?
I had the most roundabout life to get to where I am now.
Tell us.
So out of high school, I went to college for 1 whole semester.
Okay.
I went to a really small school in Alabama.
Okay.
And I genuinely, like, when you decide where you want to go to school, you're 17. Like, you don't have, like, I didn't have like a frontal lobe. Like, I genuinely went to Alabama. You're in the South, I'm sure you kind of understand. Because I was like, I want to marry a cowboy and I'm going to be a Southern belle. That was like fully my thought process. Where
did you grow up?
In San Diego.
Oh my gosh, you went to Alabama from San Diego?
Because like I was mostly looking at like Ole Miss and SMU and Alabama, and like I really wanted that like Southern experience. When you're 17, I was like, I'm gonna go far away from home.
Yeah, totally.
Hindsight, like San Diego is amazing. So about like 2 weeks before I left for Samford, I started to freak out. I was like, I don't want to do this. I tried to go to a school up in LA. They like literally didn't have a dorm for me. So I was like, I guess I'm going to Samford. I just made a lot of mistakes. Like, I did not invest my time at my school. I had friends at other schools and I spent all my time with them. I was a psych major. I literally failed psych because I didn't show up to class. I just didn't have the skills to like be an adult, honestly.
Yeah.
And so I just felt really bad wasting my parents' money. And so I was like, I'm just going to come home. My parents out of high school wanted me to take a gap year. And I was like, no, like I'm going to go to school with everyone else. Like, why would I ever turn down paid travel? Like, that was crazy. So I came home. My parents were like, you should go on that gap year. So I ended up traveling for like a year. I went to Peru, Uganda. I went to Nepal twice, all on like service trips. So basically doing like building kitchens, working in like kitchens at orphanages, helping at schools, just like essentially like service manual labor wherever people needed it. I feel like I went somewhere else. Now I can't think of where it was, but it was amazing. And I feel like I learned so much, and you grow up so much. I was alone. Like I traveled alone to all those places and just kind of like helped out with different organizations. And it just really forces you to like the growing up that I kind of needed.
Yeah.
And then I came home and I became a professional makeup artist.
Okay.
I always liked makeup. So that was kind of my first like foray into like the aesthetics industry. And I liked makeup, but it felt very, and this is like, I hope no one is the makeup artist takes this the wrong way. It just felt shallow to me. Like it wasn't like the like meaningful light. I mean, I had just been, you know, building huts in Uganda. Then I come home and a bride is freaking out about her blush or whatever. Like I just like was not in the headspace to like cater to that.
Makeup
Honestly, by that, but
yeah, makeup clients are very hard.
yes. So I was just like, I don't really feel this. I have always loved like clothes and fashion. And so I ended up moving to LA and I
Okay.
worked as a celebrity fashion stylist, which was so fun. So I worked mostly for like rappers and musicians and I styled like their press tours and like music videos and photo shoots and whatever else.
How did you get that job?
Literally no idea.
Because like, wait a minute, before you continue,
No,
how did you get a job styling people?
I like found it online somehow. And I worked for a woman who is still like a very big, I worked with like insanely famous people. I don't know how I got this gig. At one point, she left to go on tour, like the European leg of Justin Bieber's tour. And so I was just in charge of like the LA people. I did not have the training. I was not equipped.
Oh my God, who did you style, Ali?
So I was mostly with Mac Miller,
Okay.
which part of the reason that I left is because he passed away.
Oh,
So then I kind of like, it was like so dark and tragic and weird because like I personally knew him and then everyone was mourning his death. And not like we were best friends by any means,
sure.
but it was just like this weird thing. I styled Andy Grammer. Migos at the time was like, oh, also like one of them passed away. Oh my gosh. Am I cursed?
It's Hollywood. It's Hollywood, sadly.
I know, true. Yeah. Who else? I can't even. Mo, who does like the vocals for Major Lazer. Anyway,
Did you
so
ever meet Taylor Swift?
no, because I would have not remained professional.
God, I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, and then I sometimes helped Taylor Swift, and I was literally going to die. I was literally gonna like, if anyone, people listen to the podcast know my love for Taylor. Okay, continue. I just need to know.
No, I am like mentally ill over Taylor. I've been to the Eras Tour 3 times in different states and a different country.
I've been twice in different state, in different country. Oh
I went to Amsterdam, LA, and Vegas.
I went LA too. What night?
I think Monday. It was that one that they added the extra show.
Okay, I went night 2.
Okay.
And then I went to Stockholm.
There's nothing like it.
We have a lot in common, Ali.
I know, literally.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Okay.
If you like showed any interest to the boss that you liked this celebrity, she would take you off their case.
That makes
like
sense.
there was a girl who was freaking out about Justin Bieber, and I was the biggest Justin Bieber fan, and I literally pretended like I didn't know him. So
great. Yeah, that makes sense. They don't want people like fangirling over. Yeah. That makes sense. They just want normal
Taylor
people.
Swift, I like actually would have like combusted. Like,
oh yeah, I would be like, I would go into, I would just. Anyways, we could.
I know. Okay. So then after Mac passed away, I still was just kind of feeling that same like vanity. Like this isn't like that mean. It's so fun. It's cool to say. It's cool to talk about.
Sure.
But I was like, how am I gonna like find a fulfilling career?
Yeah.
And so then I came home and I kind of was like, I was just a receptionist. I wasn't really doing much. And I think one of my friends was like, well, you like skincare. Like, why don't you go to esthetician school? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Like, I don't know. Eyelashes are pretty. Like, I didn't really have like a goal going into it.
Yeah.
And then when I got into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I had never been good at school before. Esthetician school, I was like tutoring other girls. Like that would have never happened to me before. And it was just like a light bulb kind of went off and I realized I wanted to go more into like the medical side. Like I really wanted to work for a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon. I was like interested in lasers. And then when I interviewed with Danielle, I kind of told her that, and she was like, honestly, I used to do that. And like lasers are so boring. You sit there and they're just like beep, beep, beep. Like the acne space, like finding the root cause of people's acne and clearing their acne is going to fulfill that like desire to help people. And she was right. Like it totally did. So yeah. And then I worked at the acne clinic, and then I started my own. So that's like the extreme roundabout answer.
What school did you go to?
Palomar Institute of Cosmetology.
Is it
It's
still
in St.
there?
Mark. Yeah.
Is it still there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
'Cause a lot of them have closed since I've been there. I went to City College, San Diego City.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like all the esthetician schools are pretty equal. Like people think that Bellis is the best. I
Yeah.
think they're really equal. Like it just prepares you to pass state board, and that's it.
My education was so cheap. It was like $3,000. It was so
Mine
cheap.
was $6,000, which was like double, but I still felt like in terms of like getting like your career education, like that's, you know,
so good. Yeah. Bellis, I remember at the time I was looking at Bellis and it was like $17,000. And my husband, my husband, who's my boyfriend at the time, was like, that doesn't, and then this one's 3,000. Like, let's think about this.
I think going into it, the way that Bellis like wraps people in is that you think that you're getting this like extra education and realize that it's all the same. Like they even have an added master's course that's an extra like few $1,000s, and I have everyone out of doing it because they teach you teeth whitening, which I don't even know if we're allowed to do in California, and then they teach you lashes, which you can teach yourself lashes, or if you get a job at a lash studio, they're going to teach you. Like and it's a few $1,000s extra. Like it just doesn't, sorry Bellis, but it's really, really, really expensive for kind of the same education.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, this is probably what you experienced too, is I learned so much more in my first job than I did in school.
Yeah, school, there wasn't a ton new that I learned in school, but school does teach you important stuff about like sanitation. Like I joke that it only teaches you about sanitation, but in all seriousness, like it's so important. So there was some stuff that, and obviously how to give a facial. I'd never touched someone else's face besides makeup. So it was very helpful. But yeah, the first job that you get, I think is very important, but also just what education you choose to do past that is very important. Because like, I know a lot of people have a hard time getting a job out of school. And so you'll go and work at European Wax Center or Massage Envy or whatever. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you can still take those classes. You can still take webinars. There's so much free information out there to prepare yourself for that next job if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. And I think if you get a job at one of those places, you can just be the best person they have there.
100%. Yeah.
You know, and then from there, you can always go off and do your own thing. Like I've had a lot of clients that were at European Wax Center waxing, and then they have their own waxing business, and they were the best at their location, and they went out and, you know, and did that.
100%. Yeah.
So were you how long were you in the treatment room before you started managing the clinic?
Probably like 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was still very much in the treatment room.
Okay.
I was just like in charge because as ClearStim started to take off, she saw like fewer clients. And so then, like she hired more girls. I was training them. I was doing all the ordering. Like I was, you know, really kind of like headed up the clinic, but I was still very much in the treatment room like 5 days a week.
Okay. Yeah. And then, so that was, what year did you start there?
2018 to 20, or maybe technically 2019 by the time, I don't remember like when I graduated and all that, to 2021.
Okay.
Is when
and then what made you decide to open your own business?
I think it was kind of like the goal from maybe like 6 months in that I was like, you know, I think I could do this on my own. I have always been like, I don't like saying this because it sounds stupid, but like a little entrepreneurial. Like even like a child, I had businesses quote unquote, that I created that, I mean, like when I was 6, I would sell snails to the neighbors, and then I would sell snail killer the next day. So I was a con man.
Oh my gosh. So smart. I love it.
And then when I was 12, I started a business cleaning saddles, like at the barn for people.
Okay.
And I mean, I would come home with like $200 at the end of the day, which as a 12-year-old, you're like, should I buy a home? Like,
you know, it's funny that you say that because my sister and I had our own babysitting business, and I started it when I was 11 and she was 13. And she did manage it for the beginning part because she is more strong-headed than me. But then she kind of broke off into other things, and I had the babysitting business, and I had like 10 clients. We call them clients.
Yeah, they're babies.
No, the parents.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I had 10 families. Yeah. And like, it was a whole thing. And like, I raised my rates and I all the things that you do in a business. And I didn't even think about that until today. Like, that was something that I did as a kid too.
Exactly. Like, I hated babysitting because I don't really like kids, but we all did it. Like, sorry if any of the kids that I watch are out there. But we all did it. But yeah, so I think I just kind of realized that like I could maybe do this on my own.
Yeah.
I was also so fortunate when I started my business. I shared a room with one of my best friends, Deanna, who she is the lashes waxing girl at my clinic now. Okay. So we met in school, and we've just kind of like, ever since we both started our businesses, we've shared a room or shared an office. And she's amazing. So when I started my business and she started her business, she already had all the equipment. So like, I didn't have a huge overhead going into it. She had the steamer, she had the bed, she had towels. I just had to buy product. And that was super helpful because everyone's always like, how do you do it? Do you take out a loan? And I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I was so blessed in that I was set up like really well for this, because otherwise I think I probably would have had to taken out a little loan or something. And then we just like kind of made the room cute and everything. But yeah, I think I just realized that like I could do it on my own. I think hindsight, like looking back, I don't know, if knowing what I know now, how hard it was going to be if I would have done it. But I guess that's like honestly the like blessing of life, is that we like, you know, when you go into hard things, you're just like, well, I guess I'll just do it. And then you look back, you're like, holy crap, that was like actually so hard. Like,
okay. So one more question about the acne clinic. When you left, did you leave on good terms? Did she know you were leaving? Did you keep clients with you?
So going into it, I wanted to make sure that we remained on good terms for so many reasons. Like, I don't want to be that person. She has been so great to me. So I wanted to make sure that she was the first person that knew about everything as it was happening. Okay. So as soon as I kind of like actually had an office signed, I mean, I didn't tell her like months in advance, hey, I'm thinking about this. But once I had a lease signed, it was starting in like 2 months or something. I told her, hey, I'm going to be leaving. I gave her a month's notice. She was very much like, I knew that this would come someday. Like, thank you so much for telling me, And so I worked for 2 weeks while she found somebody. And then I trained that person for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I because I had the time and flexibility in my schedule, I think it really helped her like have someone be able to train that person, because she's very busy, and that's just what worked for me. Obviously, there's like so many different circumstances and situations that people leave jobs. We're totally good and fine, and I think she's great. So yeah, I told her just kind of like as everything was happening. Okay. She had every right to be like, leave right now, don't talk to any clients, don't tell any clients. She never said that. So in my mind, I was like, the last thing I want to do is make these clients feel awkward.
Yes.
Like, I do not want to make them feel like they have to come with me, but also when we go to book your next appointment, like, I won't be here. So when I went to rebook them, I just was like, hey, I just want to let you know, I am not going to be here in a month. Let me rebook you. I'm happy to book you here. I'm also happy to have you with me, but literally do not feel any pressure. Like, you will not hurt my feelings. I don't want you to feel awkward at all. I just, want to make sure that you continue your acne care wherever you feel is best. And most of the people ended up coming with me. Okay. Which that also was like such a blessing. Like, I had planned and budgeted for like maybe like 12 people to come with me because I was like, I feel like that's 12 out of like 100.
Yeah.
I feel like that's safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 99 people ended up coming with me.
Wow.
Only one guy told me that he couldn't because it was like too far of a drive, which I was like, see, that's totally like, that's, it's not personal, you know? Like,
yeah, totally.
And some of those people are still with me today, which is like so cool. Like I've known those people now for like 6 years. It's crazy.
Wow. I know. It's allowed to become a part of people's lives. So that is an unusual circumstance that you were allowed to bring them with you.
Yeah.
That would have definitely been harder. Do you have a plan for if she was like, okay, thank you, goodbye?
Yeah, I was like, I just would have to leave and, just do like, I would have to really, really grind. My office is miles away from where hers is.
Yeah.
Like not even remotely close. So it's not like I was going down the street. I think she knew that. I think it is like 20 something miles away.
Oh, okay.
So it's from La Jolla to Encinitas.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's Del Mar. No, she's in La Jolla. Okay.
The deep La Jolla.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and I was fully prepared for her to say like, you can't say anything. And I would have absolutely like obliged by that. I'm not trying to like screw her over at all. But I think also she had a ton of flow of clients. I think she wasn't that stressed about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so really from having the equipment in the room with me and then being able to, and I don't want to say took clients, like they just like chose
they followed you.
Yeah, they chose to come with me. Those are the two things that set me up for success really early on. And like, I'm so fortunate for that.
But I think like the takeaways that I think the listener needs to hear from this story is that you worked really hard developing your skills, getting really good at fostering relationships with clients, building relationships with clients.
Yeah.
So that when you were ready to leave, they naturally wanted to follow you. I think what happens is people get jobs at places, and sometimes no matter what, you can't bring them with you, but it's kind of like all they can think about is their own business. They're not thinking about the current business that they're working for, and they're already thinking about how they're going to take these clients with them versus learning how to grow clientele while you're working for somebody else, so that if you have to do it on your own, I'm sure you could have done it on your own.
Yeah.
You knew how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, I always told people to make the client feel like you are best friends. Find something to relate with them on. You need to mirror their personality without being like weird and fake, obviously, but like you can find something to relate with every single person on. Even minute. Do you love pasta? I love pasta. like just like minute things, right?
Yes.
And so by becoming genuinely friends with these people, they do feel a loyalty to you. They are like, well, I'm going to stick with her. She knows, about not only my skincare and my routine and everything, but everything else in my life. And so I've always really tried to, be actual friends and relate with each client on something. And it does, it really does like make relationships.
Yeah. It creates return clients.
Yeah.
I always think people are like, oh, I'm not having like people coming back. 9 times out of 10 is because they're not building relationships with their clients.
Yeah.
It's just a service they can get anywhere else. Even if you're the best at your craft, there are tons of people, unless you're in a really small town, that do what you do. So the best way to separate yourself is the relationship that you have with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you said, like I have relationships with people that I helped clear their skin in like 2018.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
I know.
I mean, it feels like it was like yesterday, honestly. When you said 2018, I was like, oh, that was a couple years ago. No, it really wasn't.
100%. I know. And we did like skip a few years in between that we all just blacked out, but it's fine.
So what did you do with COVID when COVID hit? Were you working with, you were still working for her?
Yes.
Okay.
So that I also ended up staying there longer than I had intended a little bit because of COVID. Like, obviously I'm not going to start a business in COVID. So I worked there through 2020. We opened and closed with like every legal opening and closing.
Yeah.
Like I would, work for a week, we would close for a week, I would work for 2 weeks, and then we close for a month or whatever. And so I was just like down to show up and the clients that showed up, like, obviously felt comfortable enough showing up. We all wore masks. Like, we all did, well, not the client because you're getting a facial. I wore a mask. Like, we all did the things that we were supposed to do. And if you didn't feel comfortable showing up, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
We offered virtual appointments. So yeah, I worked like on and off through that year.
Okay.
And then it was the summer of 2021 that I felt confident enough to start my business.
Why do you think you felt confident then?
I meant like COVID wise,
Okay.
that like we weren't going to shut down again.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you start your business, and how quickly after you started your business did you said a year and a half you hired your first employee?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. And what made you decide to hire?
I wanted to have someone that would be able to work and take clients on my off days. So she kind of worked, I think, like 2 or 3 days a week during my off days, which was so nice for multiple reasons, income. And then also for us to be open on Sundays. I think she worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which was so nice because so many clients were, more clients were able to come in. So I essentially realized that I had a wait list of people waiting to get in, and a big enough wait list that I was like, I feel confident that I could hire someone. So I ended up hiring my first employee, and she was actually a past client. So she was a client of mine who became an esthetician. And she had always kind of expressed to me like, hey, whenever you want to hire, let me know.
Okay.
And she had already done the face reality training and everything. So it was like a really easy transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how long until you started bringing on more people? Because one is a pretty normal, not normal, but common, hire. But then bringing on, 4 more people, it's a lot to manage.
Yeah. So, she worked for me for a year, and then she left. She basically decided that like esthetician was not the career for her, which is totally fine. And then I hired who I have now, Callie. So Callie's been with me now for maybe like a year and a half. I absolutely love her. She knows she's not allowed to leave me. We are tied together for life. She is just amazing. She's so smart and on top of things, and I love her. So I hired her, and we worked together for maybe like 8 months. And then I hired a like marketing social media person.
Okay.
Because I do not like social media. I am not a social media girl. I'm not a content creator. My brain doesn't work like that. I don't like any of it, but I realize it's important. So I was like, I'm just going to hire someone to like help me with like editing videos and stuff, because I do not know how to do that.
Okay.
So I brought her on, and now it's probably been like a year or so, and she's been so helpful. Like, I mean, she redid my website and my SEO, and she comes into the office 1 day a week, and we film content, and it's great. And so then after that, I hired a front desk girl to like be the receptionist essentially. So still only me and Callie as estheticians. Hired the receptionist, which has been amazing to have someone just like field calls and like product pickup, because I'm in the treatment room, I'm with a client, like I can't reply to calls, and people would stop by, and it was just very stressful. So I hired her, and her name is Morgan. I also I'm obsessed with literally all of them, but Morgan, Emily, they're all amazing. And so then I hired Kaylin, and Kaylin is our other esthetician. So now she's my second esthetician.
Okay.
And she has been awesome. She actually graduated from Bellis. I hired her straight out of school. She contacted me maybe like 2 months before she was going to graduate, which I really appreciated. And she just showed a lot of initiative that she like wanted to learn and wanted to work. And she had already a social media that she was posting about like pore cloggers and, what do these acids do? And I was just so impressed by how much she knew while still being in school. And so she sat and shadowed me for like a month before she got her license or anything. And then once she got her license, I sat and shadowed her for a month. And now she's probably been working for like 5 months.
Okay.
And she's so smart, like picked up on everything. so quickly. I've been just so impressed. She's so young. She's like 21, but
Wow.
I've just been so impressed with the way that she communicates with clients and everything. So I've been so blessed with like the employee. We all get along. There's like not drama. It's just amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think there's a couple of things that the listener make sure like to hear from the story is like the people that work for you, like they had initiative, they contacted you, they asked, they put themselves out there. You know, I think if you want to especially be a successful business owner, you have to be comfortable with putting yourself out there. And if you can't do that for a job, you're not going to be able to do that for your business.
I did not hire somebody because they didn't introduce themselves to my front desk.
Of course.
Because I was like, one, rude. Two, like, she sat in the lobby being weird and waited for me to come out instead of being like, hi, I'm so-and-so. It's so nice to meet you. I'm here for a job interview today. How is this office? You like, show me around, whatever, you know, like I immediately did not, I was like, she is not one, because you need to be able to walk up to someone and introduce yourself and explain why you're here or whatever. So yeah, it was really the initiative that I felt like almost all of my employees have reached out to me and not like just apply, like not like when I was like taking applications, like they just emailed me, was like, hey, I've been following you.
Right.
I would love to work for you. Like, even if somebody emails me that and I'm not hiring, I've had them come in and just shadow me for the day or whatever, because I just really appreciate taking that initiative and I feel like it should be rewarded.
Yeah. And you can't, like, if you just sit and wait to be hired, you're not going to be hired.
Yeah. No.
You have to want the job more than the person who wants to find someone, you know, your desire.
When I was applying for jobs, not necessarily esthetician, but just everything. Like, do you remember how you would email the employer 19 times to the point that you're like, I'm for sure annoying them, but it doesn't matter. Like, you're in their ear. They're every day. They're like, damn, this girl just keeps emailing me. But then they're like, wait, I actually kind of need someone, you know, like, even if it's every month that you just email this person, like, hi, me again. Like,
not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
That's probably why you've been a successful business person. I think sometimes people will see your story and be like, well, she had it easy. No, you worked really hard, got a job, did really well at your job, built relationships with people, and then moved. Like, it wasn't like you just like showed up and then it just was like not a thing for you. Like, you just close your eyes and it's done.
And when I graduated esthetician school, I couldn't get a job for like maybe 6 months.
Yeah,
like I interviewed at Aveda. I went to Brasilia. Like, I tried the rounds, and I just like, I don't know if it was me or what it was. I just couldn't get a job. And then luckily, truly, Danielle saw something in me that she wanted to hire me straight out of school, which is also why I like hiring girls straight out of school now. Yeah, I feel like there's so many benefits to it. Whereas if she hadn't done that for me, I don't know if I would have that same perspective.
Yeah. What do you think your biggest challenge is? You talked about a little bit, like if you had known going into it, would you maybe not do it? What would you say some of your biggest challenges have been being a business owner?
It is so expensive, like owning a business. Like, we all talk about, and you hear, like, your course is how to make $100,000, and you make $100,000, you pocket $5,000.
Hopefully more than that, but yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. That's an extreme exaggeration.
Yeah.
But, you know, you hear all these big numbers, like the first month of owning my business, I'm like, oh my gosh, I made $6,000. Like, that's crazy. And then what I actually keep is, especially the first, few years or months of your business, is so minimal. I think I didn't realize that. Like, I think I was just like, I don't know. And then the taxes and stuff too. Obviously, I'm in California, so it's like everyone is different. It's just really, really expensive. I've shared this on my podcast before, but I like to tell everyone my horror story of taxes. So the first year of me owning a business, and this is like fully my fault, like I fully take responsibility for this, I think I just like didn't take the taxes seriously. Like, I was like, oh, I'm like not making enough money for them to care. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I had always been W-2.
Yeah.
And so I think I just like didn't realize like how much that would cost.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend who was helping me like bookkeep, and she'd be like, okay, you need to pay like this much in taxes. And I was like, well, I don't even know how to do that. And then I just never did it. So truly, like 2 years down the road, I hire this tax person because I'm like, I got to get my shit in order. Am I allowed to cuss? So sorry.
Yeah, you are.
I got to get my stuff in order because I have employees now. I'm an LLC. I'm no longer a sole prop. Like, and this woman told me I owed, I mean, literally an unbelievable amount of money. I burst into tears
Oh no.
on the call. I was like, I'm gonna be homeless. Like, I cannot believe that I did this to myself. It's fully my fault that I just like I don't know what I was thinking. Like my brain just literally, I was so focused on growing my business and being in the treatment room and doing all this stuff. I didn't take the like admin side seriously. And I owed so much money, like so much money. And so I was on a flight to Florida for Face Reality to one of the trade shows. And I sat on my computer and I went through every single charge of the last 2 years. And I found so many things that I needed to write off that that was the other thing. I was willy-nilly business card, personal card. Like,
yeah.
did not think it mattered that much. Now I'm like every cent. 12 cents right off, you know, like just really took that seriously. And now that's the other thing is I pay a lot of money for a bookkeeper and accountant, and it's worth every penny because I am afraid of going to jail. I would not do well there. Like they only have bar soap, I hear. I don't know. So yeah, it's worth the investment. If you as a business owner know how to bookkeep and do all of that, amazing. I did not.
It's very rare.
Yeah, and I just didn't take it seriously, and now I'm on top of it. But that was like a huge mistake that I made, that luckily I had savings, but it was literally every single penny of my savings that I had to start over.
And I think that's a really common thing. A lot of estheticians are not naturally business people. They are good at being an esthetician.
We're creative. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also like have a bookkeeper and I have an accountant to help me because I will avoid things because it's not fun for me.
No,
even if the money is good. Like, even if I like the numbers, it's just not fun.
I know.
And so you have to set yourself up with people that it's fun for that. Like, it's their job to be in charge of it. But so many people like don't have separate checking accounts for their personal and their business. Like, first of all, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Big problem. Second of all, like if you get like, there's so many problems with that, but it's like money freezes people.
Yeah.
And it's a really common thing. It's like doing these financial stuff can make people freeze. And so then it's like, they're afraid to like do it. So it's not uncommon what you described, but it sucks that you had such a big bill.
Yeah, it was super scary. Again, I had always been a W-2, I never owed money before, to then like, I didn't even understand. I mean, the first like 3 months of my business, I didn't charge sales tax because I like didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Like, and then you have to charge like per county. It's confusing. Like there's really like no one to tell you these things unless you hire someone. So spend the money on, and I had bad accountants too, like people that just like did not help at all.
Yeah.
So this woman now that I have, if anybody needs recommendation, please DM me. So helpful. It's a pretty penny, but honestly, like the fact that I don't have to, she'll just email me like, hey, you need to pay this today. And like, okay, like I don't even have to worry. That's not on my plate. But the money side of things is like very, very stressful, like for so many reasons,
And like, an in-person business is very expensive. It's like one of the things that my husband has realized now, me having an online business versus an in-person business. He's like, oh, you get to keep so much more money on the online business. And I do. I'm not paying overhead. I'm not paying for the space. I'm not paying all the extra things of like physically keeping a space.
Yeah.
Like laundry and supplies and back
Mhm.
bar. And I think a lot of like estheticians will spend on those things way more than they really should, because it feels like, oh, this is like the right thing to do. They're not being like mindful of their money, and then they're really out of money every month. Like every dollar that comes in leaves.
Yeah. I did the first years, did my own laundry. I just started having someone do our laundry, actually. Because, you know, people were like, oh, you need to like outsource to relieve the stress. Would love to, don't have the funds for it.
Yeah.
So I've never had a cleaning lady. I'm the cleaning person. You know, there's stuff that like you can take on. I know it's hard and stressful, but it does end up saving, you know, again, like $20 here, $20 there. It ends up saving you a ton of money.
Yeah. So what is next? We're getting close to the end of our time. So I want to have any other things that you want to say. What's next for you? Like, what do you think you want to do? Or do you want to have multiple locations? Like what's next?
Such a good question. I have no idea. I don't know if I want to have multiple locations. I don't know. Like, I don't know why that doesn't feel like right to me for some reason. People have asked, like because San Diego is so huge. They're like, can you have a South County Skin Solutions? And I don't like, it feels scary to me to have a place that I would be like hands off from. Like I couldn't imagine, I guess I could split time between them, but I couldn't imagine having a place that like existed kind of without me. Maybe that's a control thing. I don't know. I would love to have more estheticians and like more acne specific people. I just feel like acne will never, you know, that's a business that will continue to need us.
Yes, it'll never
go.
go.
I would love to do that. As far as like other like business things go, I honestly like don't know. Right now, I feel really good with like where we are, and I want to continue to just grow North County Skin. And then maybe in like years or so go from there.
Yeah. I think there's actually something really great about being like, I like the business where it is right now. Like, I just want to keep the business where it is right now.
Yeah. I love my girls. I love like everything about it, that I feel, you know, really comfortable, and like we are continuing to grow, and I just kind of don't want to like mess with it right now.
Yeah. I mean, more money is not always, this is always the solution.
Yeah. I heard a saying a while ago that like really stuck with me, and I've kind of made it like my motto. If you stay small enough long enough, you'll be big enough soon enough.
Yeah.
And I think people spread themselves thin and have, I don't want to say dollar signs in your eyes, because I'm not trying to make it sound like people are greedy, but like just really hungry for it. And that's amazing. But I don't, you know, opening a second location, who knows if that would succeed? Like, and I guess that's just business, but
totally.
I just want to be small enough, long enough, and I'll be big enough soon enough.
Yeah. I think that's such a great thing, because I think sometimes we all get ahead of ourselves and we get excited and we're like, if I can do this, then I can do that. And if I can do this, then I can do that. And maybe those things are true, but you need to give yourself time.
Yeah, completely.
To acclimate to the new normal. Now you have another employee. What's this new normal like? How much does this actually really cost? How much does it actually, like, more work is it actually creating?
Yeah. And I'm really, really intense about training. Like I said, most of my girls, the two of them trained for like 2 months before I let them be on their own, like every day. So I couldn't even imagine like if I had another location to those girls, how would I even train them? Like, because it's very important to me that like we are providing premium treatment. Like the whole thing is premium. And I don't want to just like throw somebody like, hey, do the online stuff and then bye. Like that does not work for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's your baby, you know, your business is your baby. And I know people always ask me like, why didn't I keep my business open? Like I moved in 2020, so it wasn't like, it was a weird time anyways. Same reason, like I knew I wasn't living in San Diego. I'm like, I can't monitor it. I can't make sure that the people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I know.
And so
it's really hard to like give up that control. Like, props to people that do it and like can train people and take a step back. It just seems really scary. Like, even if we talk about moving, like I have no idea what I would do, or yeah, it just seems really scary because I don't want it to be tarnished.
Yeah. And you know, another thing is like there's so many different skill sets that you either had or you developed to create your business. And I think that is hard sometimes for people to identify, but I just want for the listener to just like see it's different skill sets that you have. If they're like, why can't I be like Ali? But you really like, you know, put yourself out there. You were willing to go keep trying, even if you didn't get the result you wanted.
Yeah.
You were building relationships with people. You were thinking about your client first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that gets lost sometimes in our esthetician world because we're people and we need money and we need other things. And so
Totally.
if you're thinking about how much money you need when you're trying to like work with a client, it's going to come across.
Yeah. That's something that's always been so important to me is like, do not be salesy. Like, yes, obviously we're selling product, and I don't even like the word like upselling a treatment. Like, I'm genuinely suggesting something that might be better. Like,
yeah. 100%.
Like, because I think that clients can sniff out a salesperson and it does delegitimize your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So clients have even brought up to me how much they appreciate like that I'm the opposite of a sale. Like, people will ask me if they need something. I'm like, no, like,
no. Yeah.
I will always be so honest. And I've always been like, I used to work at Macy's in like the cosmetics department, and I was the worst. They'd be like, is this good mascara? I'm like, honestly, no. Like,
yeah, but I think that makes it when you do, like, I was the same way. Like, if I would recommend something, it's like, I actually think you need it. It's not because I think it's going to hit my sales quota for today.
Yeah. So we don't do any of the sales quotas or anything like that because I do not want to be salesy at all.
Well, great. I mean, that it works, right? I always say relationship-based sales work so much better because you build a relationship with someone and then you understand what they need and you offer them what they need.
Yeah.
It's just trying to sell them something that
100%.
they may not need.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, especially with acne, like if they don't want to do the acne program, don't sell them on the acne program. It's not going to work.
I literally tell people, specifically moms and teens, I will tell them because they're like, well, he doesn't really want to come. And I'm like, then don't come.
Don't come.
Save your dollars until they are begging to come. And I know that's really hard for parents to see their child go through with it. But acne is only a problem if you view it as a problem.
Exactly.
A lot of teens just don't care. And I know it's hard to go through with it, but ignore it. Do not create insecurities. If they're begging you to come, perfect. But otherwise, no.
Yeah, exactly. Because everyone's going to be frustrated at the end.
Yeah. And that's one thing truly that I've learned through business is being really honest with the client. Like, I was kind of scared to set expectations in the beginning. Like, I used to tell people like, oh, you won't purge, because I didn't want people to not go through with the process. That obviously ends up biting you in the butt. Like,
yeah.
And so now, I mean, I am so honest with people, like, hey, if you don't want to do this, it will not work. Do not blame me. Like,
yeah. It's so true. The more honest you are with people, I think the easier it is for them to be successful.
Yeah, you have to set expectations. Like, and I will set worse expectations than it actually will be so that it ends up being better. And they're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm like, perfect.
Oh my gosh, I used to do that all the time. It's like, you're going to purge really, really badly.
Like, this could take 6 months to clear, and then it takes 3. And they're like, wow. And you're like, cool, you know.
You're queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And I think the more honest you are with people, the easier it is for them to also build trust with you. And trust is like the main part of this.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you. This is so fun.
I know. I love hearing people's stories and like everything. So
it's so interesting because I feel like everyone gets there in such different ways. Because it's like, this is a trade, you know, it's like not the traditional, it's not a degree. So I feel like everyone ends up here in such different ways. And a lot of people like start and stop again and have different, and it's I think the one thing that I've noticed with everyone who I've interviewed who've been successful is like they just don't give up and they're willing to feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And I think
Because
some people that don't want to own a business, like I know girls that have started a business and then absolved their business or whatever because they were like, that was too hard. And I
yeah,
think that's totally okay.
yeah,
Like,
it's not
you're
for
not
everyone.
lazy, you're not dumb, you're not any of
Yeah,
these things. It's really hard. And if you want to be an employee because it's easier for whatever reason, that is totally fine. Like,
yeah.
that should not be frowned upon.
Being an esthetician and being a business owner are two totally different jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not everyone's meant to be a business owner, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, we can stop recording. I wanted to ask you, what is your husband doing as a pilot?
Oh my gosh. So today is
Hey, if you like this podcast, please rate and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to. I cannot tell you how much that helps my podcast grow. So you can click 5 stars if you like it and you want to give me 5 stars, and please leave a review about telling me why you like it so that I can help other estheticians grow their business. Thank you so much.